there, this is Dr. Jen from Coaching Flores, Discovering Voice with AAC, and today I wanted to do a quick review of the Proloquo to Go app. It is an app that I find quite a few students using, so I thought it might be helpful to share a little bit of information about it. Proloquo runs on iOS devices, so it can run on iPads and Apple products, and you can purchase it for just under $250. It can be backed up to the cloud, so say your child's iPad gets lost, it does automatically update and back up whenever you're using the system, but you can also back it up yourself when you have made major changes to it. Proloquo to Go uses symbol sticks for pictures, so they're pretty kid-friendly. I want to be able to show you those symbol sticks pictures, so I'm going to change the grid size. Right now I have it set to the 7x11, and we'll talk about why I have that done. But it's pretty easy to navigate and change your options in here. So you can go to this gear button down at the bottom and go into options and appearance, and there it says default grid size. So I'm going to pick something that's a lot bigger so you can see it. So there you go. There's the symbol sticks pictures, which I think are pretty user-friendly for kiddos. You can choose in the options if you want to have just the picture in Word, or just the word as well. So you don't have to use the pictures unless you want to. You are also able to upload your own photos. So if you have something specific, you can include your own photos as well. It does come in several languages, including Spanish, and has over 100 voices. This gets me really excited. I love to play around with the different voices to really customize it to each child so that they feel like this is my voice. It's not just a typical computer generated voice, but that is actually theirs. So if we go into settings, and you can just see how easy this is, but let's get back out to the beginning. And we've got speech and language, and I can go here under voices, tap for more information, and I can pick a different voice. I could pick Ella, who's it?
Hello, my name is Ella.
It's on
I'm
right
one
now.
of the child American English speech synthesis voices from the a cappella group assisted for a premium voices collection. Efficient, fast, and natural sounding. Why not let me be your voice?
I think she's trying to sell you there. There's also Josh for a little boy.
Hello, my name is Josh. I am one of the child American English speech synthesis voices from...
There's adult
Hi, I'm Ryan,
voices.
the male American English speech synthesis.
Hi, I'm Tracy, the female American English speech synthesis voice.
I'm going to go back to
My name is
Ella.
Ella.
Let's see. There we go. But you could see down below is if I was connected to the internet, I could download all of these other voices. There's a bad guy voice, there's a little creature voice, there's Nellie, there's Saul, there's Will, there's all kinds of voices. Another thing that you can play around with is the speech rate. So you can slow down the voice as well.
Hello, my name is Ella. I'm one of the child American English speech synthesis.
That might be helpful for your student to have a slower rate of speech, or they might identify with a faster rate of speech.
Hello, my name is Ella. I'm one of the child American English speech synthesis voices from the a cappella group assisted for a premium.
I can think of at least one student who would pick that fast rate of voice because she is just a fast person. So I'm going to change it back to just a normal rate. And then you can also do making it a higher pitch voice or maybe a deeper voice.
Hello, my name is Ella. I'm one of the child American English.
So there you can see that Ella now sounds like maybe she's 10-year-old versus 6-year-old and that sort of thing, which is kind of exciting that the voice can grow with your child. With those symbol sticks pictures and the different vocabulary options, Proloquo is based on core vocabulary, and then they have over 10,000 fringe words to support it, which is a really vast vocabulary, but they recognize that most of our language when we speak is between the 200 and 400 core vocabulary words. So I'm going to change the grid size. I know I made it a little bit bigger to show you. But I also want to show you how the core follows throughout the pages. So let's go back into appearance, grid size. And then I still want you to be able to see it. Let's do, I think I've been experimenting a lot with the 5x9. So that gives us 45 options on a page. So you can see, or not see because it's extremely bright in here. There we go. So this is the home page, but if I were to select, let's get a little closer here. If I were to select one of these files down below, you'll see that the core words will follow it. So if I go to describe, these core words here with the I and the is and the it kind of follow on that board. Even then when you go into a category, the core follows you. So let's say we go into help. I still have these core words here, which is really nice so that you don't maybe have to press I first and then go to places. You can just go straight to places and type I. So on that home page, instead of saying I go and then go to places, which you could, it might help you to think that through in your head, but you could start here.
I go school.
You could start there too, because those core words are still in that board for you, which is really nice. One thing that I could show you quickly is we don't take up an extra button space for the clear. We can tap once to get rid of just one word, or double tap and it gets rid of all the words. So that wasn't a very good example.
What have?
Double tap and it gets rid of all the words, which is really nice that we're not using up grid space for a clear button. I do love that this Proloquo is easy to edit. I was able to show within 5 minutes a teacher how to edit and change pages or buttons. And then I know that she was able to go on to show a paraprofessional how she could do it as well. So it is easy to edit. I don't really recommend editing a lot because it is no advanced vocabulary system. You really don't need to add a whole lot. You might want to edit the chat and about me. So if we look at, here's the chat folder and it has about me. And there it says,
My name is.
my name is. So it does have just a picture of a little boy and his shirt says Joe. That might be a place where you would want to use a photo of the child to put that in there. And then you can customize it with my pets and show a picture of maybe their fish or their dog and have it say my dog's name is Bentley or something like that. This page can be really motivating for children to be able to share about themselves, but it can also be really important for them to learn about self-advocacy and also when they go to the doctors so that they can share their information there. And then just chatting with friends, you know, when we talk about community circle in the classroom and connecting with others, it's really important that they're able to share that they have pets and what their favorite TV shows are and that sort of thing. So it can help with making friends as well. Proloquo has different access options. So if we go into the settings, access method, there is a hold duration, select on release, or scanning. So sometimes our children have a hard time, maybe they're swiper, maybe they point to one and that's their selection, but then their finger slides down. These sort of access methods can help make sure that what they're pressing is really what they want. So if they want of, and we have that hold for 0.5 seconds, the child is to hold their finger there and then release. Sometimes that's helpful too because a child might just have some lag time and before they take it off. So it's not making the child do more work to hold it on there longer, but if the child just naturally does that, it compensates for that, and that allows them to make their selection as well. It also has these options at the bottom, which are pretty nice. These buttons on iPads, especially when they get cases on them, it can be hard to change the volume on them. So I appreciate that it has the volume buttons here, easy to access. No matter what page you're on, this little grid down here will always be found. So they've got volume. They also have search, which was really helpful to me, when I'm looking for a word and I want to be able to do some aided input with a child. So if I'm looking for the word fast, I can hit search and it'll show me all the different places that the word fast shows up. So I could just go to the describe folder and go to size and speed, and that's where I will find fast. I could also find it in the describe A to Z folder under F. I can find it in sample activities with bowling and that sort of thing. So that explore button can really be helpful when you're looking for, gosh, do they have this picture on there and where would I find it? So it did say that I would go to describe and it said size and speed, and here's fast. I also wanted to show you, they've got different kinds of buttons on here. So a button like this word, the word of, just has the green outline around it. It is the word of.
Of.
Now, if you see like this word some, has that little triangle in the top corner, I can just press it
Some.
and it says some. Or I can hold it and more options pop up. So I could have some, somebody, something, somewhere.
Somewhere.
And go back home. So that word some right there has more options if I hold it. I thought that was pretty nifty little trick that they came up with. And then of course the folders will take you further. Let's see here. They also had a typing option in that grid, and it has predicting softwares too. So I could start with the dog is not in his house. Oh, there's home. And I can choose
The dog is not in his home.
to have it speak as well. So that was, let's go home. That was right there in that grid as well. It also has, no matter where you're at within the levels, this keyboard at the bottom as well. This does not have the prediction software with it. It does allow the child to compose. With this, it can be really overwhelming to have this many buttons on a page. And if we go into settings like I had before and we looked at vocab, well, we'll look at appearance. As you change the grid size, buttons are hidden. So this is maybe a more friendly size to start with when you are working with students who just get a device. But as you change grid sizes and you want to expand their vocabulary, let's go back. Let's make the grid size a bit bigger. Grid size. Let's do a 6x6. They try to keep the buttons in the same general area, but because you're expanding the grid, it's not possible to keep them in the exact location. So you and the user have to be familiar about the approximate location, knowing that it's going to change. This can be tricky with motor planning. We really want to eliminate as much movement of the pictures and the words as possible because, like using a TV remote or your phone, you know automatically where those buttons are without even looking at it. That takes the thinking out of it. So if they don't have to think so much about their message, they can just go and do it. It leaves more opportunities for communication. So Proloquo has found kind of a workaround around that. They really recommend, and it is based on, they'll always have that caveat, the child's finger isolation and that in their vision, but they want you to pick the smallest button size possible for that child. So if you think that the child can handle a 7-11 grid, they really recommend you start here. So this is where you're like, oh my gosh, this is super overwhelming to see all this. Yes, it is, but this is how they account for motor planning. So if you open it up in the 7x11, and then we can go into our vocabulary, and they have what's called progressive language. So you can start at step 1 with just 23 buttons. So it hides all of those other buttons, keeps with that same size, and it will keep the buttons in the same location for motor planning, but it hides everything else. And so you're like, okay, we're doing good here. Now I want to go on to step 2, and we add a few more buttons. Another month or 2 goes by, and you want to add some more until the grid is completely filled in. So that's how they account for motor planning, is that they suggest you find the grid size, the smallest that is going to work for that child, and then do kind of the progressive language and hiding those buttons so that you don't have to worry about the location of those words moving on them. I hope that you found today's review helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those below. Be sure to hit subscribe so that you get notifications when new videos are uploaded. In today's video, we featured the We Go from Talk to Me Technologies using the Proloquo to Go app.